Hello, and welcome to the Legal Growth Podcast, where we dive into the strategies, challenges, and success stories shaping the future of law firms. I'm your host, Aaron Fulk, and together with Legal Growth Partners, we'll bring you in-depth conversations with top legal professionals, industry innovators, and firm leaders. Our goal is simple: to share practical insights, innovative strategies, and real-world advice to help your law firm scale, adapt, and thrive. Whether you're navigating growth challenges or looking to boost your business development, you are in the right place. Let's dive in. I'm so excited. This week, our guest is Trisha. Trisha, say all of your, Morales, tell us your whole last name, because I saw it in a couple different places. So how do you like to go?
Trisha Morales Padia. No
Perfect.
else. It always throws people off.
It does. And then on LinkedIn, you have the Morales in parentheses, but I knew your firm was named after that. So I was just trying to make sure I did it right.
Yes.
Well, it's very gorgeous. I love a strong woman with two last names. I really like that. So let's just jump in really quick. Give me a quick overview of how you chose to go into law overall, and then how you got into your specialty.
Okay. So law was kind of always something that I thought about. As a kid, it was just like, I was always told, hey, you're going to go to law school. You're going to go to law school. I went to get my bachelor's and I got it in marketing. And so at that point, I was never going to go to school again. And I worked in advertising agencies. I was a media buyer and I loved it. But, I was laid off 3 times in about 7 years, because that's normally the first thing that's really pulled in-house. And so when I was kind of searching, thinking, I want to go back to school, what should I do? It kind of circled back around. And my dad was like, why don't you go to law school? And it was like, I just kind of hadn't thought about it for 10 years. So we were in Colorado at the time. We were living in Colorado Springs, me and my husband. So I just decided, let's go. And I got into St. Mary's here in San Antonio, Texas. And so we just moved here sight unseen. And I went to law school in 2010. So I got my license in 2013, and I just immediately opened up my own practice. I knew that I just kind of wanted to do my own thing. And so I was off and running ever since then.
Yeah, but if you had that skill set of marketing already, that probably was a game changer, right?
So it was, and I really didn't initially think about it. I was just really kind of focused on just doing the law. For the longest time, it was really just me. Obviously I'm very conversational, and I don't mind selling myself and really putting the value in that. And so I didn't have a hard time attracting clients, but there's only so much that one person can do. But I did that almost all the way up until the pandemic in 2020.
Oh, wow. And then, okay, what specialty do you guys focus on, and how did you decide on that?
So I've kind of changed. So technically we're not allowed to call it specialty, only because I'm not board certified, but it's kind of morphed a little bit. So when I originally came out of school, I was doing criminal and family law. Criminal defense and then family law. And I did that all the way up until about 2017. I started taking probate cases when people pass away. And then during the pandemic, the criminal courts really came to a halt, and nobody wanted to be quarantined with their spouse. So family law just really took off. And so, and then during the pandemic is really when I kind of noticed a lot of the missteps and the failure to plan and the lack of planning in probate. And so we kind of shifted, and we do right now a lot of family and then estate planning and probate, but really kind of educating around estate planning. And then we do a lot of family law. And so that's kind of where we're at now.
Awesome. Yeah. Family law took off, right? There are so many divorces during COVID. Was a good place. There's always a good place to be in during a tragedy. So it sounds like you found one of them.
Yes.
So what has been your biggest growth success story so far?
So as far as the growth, so I really started focusing on the growth during the pandemic. We started getting a little bit busy, and I thought, let me just take on an intern. I got an intern from one of the paralegal schools. And one of the things that I've noticed is when you bring somebody in for a position, it's like you almost create a position. So they would come and intern to do their hours. And then by the time it was over, we've now created this position and taken on more work. And then we need that person. And I think just kind of realizing as a law firm that, because I know a lot of times you don't want to spend the money to hire people, but the more people you have, the more business that you can take. And so kind of getting over that hurdle of, there's a cost that's going to be incurred to hire somebody, but we're going to be able to handle more work. I think getting past that is really what now allowed us to grow to the extent that we have since 2021. So from 2021 until now, we went from 2 people to now we have 8 people.
Oh, wow. That's some quick growth.
Yes. So we've grown really quickly in a short amount of time.
Do you like hiring like brand new to a law firm so that you can kind of make sure that they do it your way better than I do?
I do. I mean, that's kind of been my strategy, although sometimes it's difficult in the training, right? Because you've got to train people rather than just having somebody experienced jump in. But I have found that because our culture, I think, is a little bit different and we kind of focus a little bit differently than other firms, I do feel like hiring people right out of the gate, and like this is kind of their first stop, whether you're an attorney or a paralegal, just teaching them kind of how we do it, I think makes them more well-rounded if they move on, because of course everybody's going to move on at some point. And then they're not coming in with any bad habits that they might have.
Exactly. I like that. All right. So what's been your favorite non-legal skill that has helped you grow your business?
So I think the non-legal skills that have helped me is just really being a people person and engaging with people, and kind of listening and really just creating that experience and really kind of tailoring that. Probably kind of comes from the marketing background as far as just creating an experience for people rather than actually doing the legal work, because almost everybody who comes to us really is coming to us at a terrible time. Either you've been arrested, somebody has died, or there's a divorce or a custody issue. So we can't always change that, right? But we can change the experience that you have. And people generally don't really care for attorneys. So we're kind of starting off like 1 foot behind. So I really think just creating that customer service feel, even though people don't think of, oh, law firm and customer service, I think that's the problem. And I think creating that feel of like, we're here for you and to get you through this, I think that that's helped.
Yeah, I like that. I think, to your point, they are coming in a tough time. So the fact that you immediately start building that trust, I think is probably a game changer for you guys.
Yes, I feel like that's what's helped. And I feel like that's kind of where we're different from other firms.
Love that. So looking ahead, what trends or changes do you see shaping the future of law firms? And how are you positioning your firm to stay ahead of those?
I mean, I really think just creating that experience. Last year I took my family to Disneyland and we'd been there like a million times, but I really just was paying attention to the whole experience. And while Disney does a lot of things that are a little bit frustrating, like nobody's unhappy when you're there and it's still the happiest place on earth. And I really think because at least in San Antonio, and I'm sure most places, there's 101 divorce attorneys, right? We're a dime a dozen. You can go anywhere. So, and the legal work is the legal work. Now, how you do it obviously is going to be different, but I think creating the experience and the experience that people have is really what is going to divide us and to set us apart from everybody else. And I think that experience is going to shape going forward, especially with AI, because a lot of people are like, well, I can do AI, I can go to LegalZoom, I can do all of this. But if they want the experience of really that relationship and that person getting them through these times, I think that's what's going to, I mean, you can't match that with other places. And so I think that will set us apart. And I think that's kind of the trend going forward.
In San Antonio, are they making you report yet if you used AI in any of your work?
We're supposed to cite it. Like if we use AI to do research, in like motions or something and say, hey, we got this from AI. I can't say I know anybody who does that. But we're supposed to say, I've used this for research, just like we would cite, any like cases that we do in any motions or any legal work like that.
In just one county where I am in Kansas City Metro, there is a county that you have to sign something that if you used any of it. And it's the only one I know of so far. So I found that interesting.
Yeah, we don't have to sign anything, but if you use it for research, they want you to cite it in the sources. But yeah.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see where that goes. That's super interesting. When you were at Disney, were you, as a former marketing girl, were you looking for the trash cans? That's my favorite part of Disney.
Oh my gosh, I noticed the trash can. So we'd been to Disney World and it really didn't ever dawn on me, but we were in like the Star Wars park. And so everybody had gone on the ride and I was literally just looking at the trash cans and I'm thinking, oh my gosh, it is like R2D2. And
Well,
so
it's crazy
like
because they make it part of their thing.
they do. And even the manhole covers. And even, when you go through the ride, obviously that's an experience, but even when you're leaving the ride. So just like little things that other places don't do, normally when you're leaving the ride, it's kind of like, okay, bye. But Disney continues on that experience all the way through you walking out. And so I was just like, I think just creating that experience for people is what's going to be memorable, helpful for them, help them feel more like we care, because sometimes it's really easy to get wrapped up in the legal work and to be very like, matter of fact. And obviously that's not good bedside manner. Sometimes that comes across like we don't care because we're so wrapped up in the legal work. And I think just the experience is what people are looking for. So that way they feel like people are listening, even though attorneys listen. I know sometimes it doesn't always seem like we do.
Right. No, I love that. I love the Disney references there because I think nobody does it better.
Yeah.
And that's why people pay the prices, right? Nobody does it better. So, well, this has been amazing, Trisha. Thank you so much for coming on. This is
Yes, thank you.
And I think everybody can kind of think about that no matter what industry they're in, the Disney experience. So
Yes.
that was really helpful. Okay, thank you for joining us on the Legal Growth Podcast presented by Legal Growth Partners. If you enjoyed today's episode, subscribe, drop us a review, and share it with your colleagues because great insights are even better when shared. For more tips and tools to help grow your practice, visit legalgrowthpartners.com. And until next time, keep innovating, keep growing, and keep smiling. Thank you.
Thank you.